Good evening and welcome to Series 2, Episode 22 of Ox Sports Unleashed. Wherever you're joining us, in your bathrooms, your living rooms, your jacuzzis, your hot tubs, just in your garden having a barbecue after today. It's been absolutely superb. Welcome to another edition of Ox Sports Unleashed. We're pleased to have you with us. On a packed programme tonight, actually, there's lots going on. Jack Shannon interview, part 2. Ollie Price and Miles Hammond. We'll catch up with them. We've also got some footage of some of our youngsters playing cricket around the counties, and also an exclusive interview with Graham Charlesworth, head coach of Oxford UCCE, at the Parks a couple of days ago with our roving reporter Blake Bint. So we thank Blake for all his roving around this week. As you can see, we've got our regular, not quite as regular as KDog has been over the last few weeks, but it'd probably be remiss of us to say that we miss him, and all our thoughts are with him for a speedy recovery, and to our friend and colleague KDog. So get well soon, young man. And I think with that, we'll come over to you to start the show off. Roller coaster ride.
Yeah, so we start off with football, and the first of 3 games that could see Oxford City mathematically safe in step 2 of the football pyramid. Saturday saw that run of 3 start well at home to Radcliffe. Here we see the highlights, and then a delighted Ross Jenkins chatting afterwards.
Way. Throw into City. Coyle takes it quickly to find McEachran. He's just drifted over to this left-hand side, almost hugging the touchline. Plays the ball over to Scott now, and Scott plays it all the way over to the right-hand side where Aaron Drew is waiting. Crossing from Drew. 2 people stab at it. It bounces from McEachran. What a save, and it goes in! And it is 1-0 to Oxford City, and that is a huge goal as Zach McEachran gives the Hoops the lead. A ball in from Aaron Drew. It was perfect from the City wide man. So far for Radcliffe. Again Dudley, back to Smith. Sargent now. Thornley. Ball over, won by Ezenolin. Bounces out. Can it found Rick Smith. Smith crossing towards the box, headed into the air by Tom Scott. Greenfield out towards Jackson. Jackson shapes one way and then the other, still going to the byline. Jackson gets the ball across and it's going to be headed in. What a save from Laurie Walker! That is sensational from the Oxford City goalkeeper, because for all that the rain starts to fall here at Oxford City. Smith with a long throw in towards the box, headed by Coyle, not quite out yet. Dudley, back to Navarro. Navarro shoots, blocked to Greenfield. Greenfield clips across in towards the box, headed by Dudley, chested out. Navarro, another super stop from Laurie Walker. What a save again to tip the ball over. What a save.
We made it hard for ourselves the last 15 minutes. We invited pressure. 1-0 was always a cagey result, but we should have scored probably 5 or 6. Again, same sort of theme as last week. We should have scored 5 or 6. And I felt I was just really sort of disappointed with that we got into those areas and didn't take our chances. Now, we put 2 away in the first half and we put 2 or 3 away in the second half. The game's put to bed, goal difference is good. But we just leave ourselves open the last 15 minutes to concede a last minute sickener. So we need to look at that. The quality of getting in there was there. It was the final pass. And the boys know that. We should be in there celebrating maybe 4 or 5 goals. We haven't, we didn't, we made it difficult. We sort of hung on at the last couple minutes, some stupid fouls, but the 3 points was the main thing. We got that today, now we move on. But yeah, we need to be scoring our chances because the boys deserve more. They need their rewards. They work their absolute socks off all game. They make the certain runs that we ask. They put their bodies in a line as we ask, and they deserve their rewards. And you know, the rewards are tap-ins and goals, and just that final bit of quality. And the boys should be in double figures, some of them. So yeah, really pleased about the result. Boys are buzzing, music's on, 3 points are massive, and now we move on.
So Ross Jenkins there, a happy man, I think. So as they Oxford City stride, I think, now towards safety in step 2. Well done to him.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how they did in the week, see if they could keep their good form going. That's coming up later in the programme tonight. And that takes us to our normal roundup of local football with Lyon Ryde. We always ask them every week to provide quite a substantial review of the last weekend's football. But as I like to call them, by their nicknames, Locksmith, Lion Bar and Roller Coaster. It is Lyon Ryde.
All right, time to welcome my 2 guests, Paul Lyon and Patrick Lock. And let's start with you, Paul, because last week we had the really bad news that some Muppets had broken into Whitney Town's home ground, trashed the place, and then decided to build a bonfire and set fire to it in the middle of your 3G plastic pitch. So what happened last week, and more importantly, what happened last Saturday, sir, with Whitney Town Football Club?
Yeah, hi Colin. Yeah, it was a bit of a disaster really when we found that the ground had been vandalised, but everybody pulled the stops out. Everything was repaired, and the surface had a patch put on there. So thankfully, the 3G was ready to play on Saturday, and Whitney Town duly obliged with a 5-1 victory over Blessington. So maintaining their position at the top of the league.
And you're there now to be shot at, I suppose, Paul, aren't you? You've got to stay there, haven't you?
It's difficult every week. It's a challenge because the teams below are still winning. Hornton just 2 places below, and Oakley 1 place below. They keep winning. We're trying to get a gap between us and 3rd place, but it's proving to be difficult because the teams at the top seem to keep winning. But all we can do is win our games and hope we can keep up the good run.
Well, just to prove that we do comment and review the widest possible range of leagues in our review of local football, we're going to go from the Oxfordshire Senior League Division 2 to the EFL Championship. And talking about difficult times, Oxford United's very, very difficult run-in has started, Paul, isn't it? They were 1-0 up at one point, but lost 2-1 away at Middlesbrough. It looking very tough for United. They're still out of the danger zone, but like you say, a few points dropped and a few other teams getting in form.
Yeah, sure. They're only 4 points above relegation now, and Derby have a game in hand. And when they went 1-0 up on Saturday, I thought, oh, great, if they can hold on to that will give them a little bit of a buffer zone. But unfortunately, Middlesbrough came back with the 2 goals. And you look at Oxford's form now, they've lost 5 out of the last 7 games. And it is going to be tough for them. And who's the next game? Sheffield United. And that's not going to be on the weekend. It don't get any harder than playing the top team. But at least it's at home now, which gives United a little bit of assistance. But they have got a really tough run in. There are no easy games at all in this league, but they've still got to play Leeds, remember. They've still got to play Sunderland, and some really tough games to go. But hopefully they can get some results somewhere along the line. What have they got left? 7 games. They probably need to get 7 or 8 points probably to be safe, but hopefully they can do it.
So meanwhile, we're shifting from the yellow side of the city to the blue hoops side of Oxford City, and a point away at midweek, and followed up by all 3 points on Saturday. Patrick, you must be still celebrating, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, City have found form at just the right time, haven't they? I was joking with a few people after the game that this time 2 weeks ago we were sat in a relegation zone on behind Needham Market on goal difference, and 2 weeks later 10 points clear, and basically looking at 1 win away from mathematical safety. But I mean, I have to admit, by the time that people were watching this on Thursday night, we will know whether City got mathematical safety on Tuesday night at Farsley. But yeah, we try and keep our trade secrets a secret if we can. But yeah, I think we've given this one away that this is recorded before Tuesday night. But yeah, it was the game on Saturday was I mean, City controlled 80 minutes of the game, let's say, and deservedly got themselves ahead. A typical one that Ross Jenkins came out afterwards saying that he was disappointed that City didn't get 5, 6 or 7 really with the chances they created. But as we've seen of City of the last few years, tried to make life hard for themselves in the last 10 minutes. And we're thankful that Laurie Walker is in goal and pulled off 2 absolute worldy saves in the last couple of minutes to preserve the lead. So, yeah, really, really big win. And you'd say that pretty much that's safety now, I'd have thought.
But Banbury United, they picked up yet another point. They're kind of getting towards real safety, aren't they? So maybe they're getting a little bit complacent. But yeah, a point's a point, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, I'd have thought they're safe now. They're 9 points clear of the drop zone, and there's plenty of teams between them and the drop zone as well. So I'd have thought that if Banbury were to go on a losing run now, I think there's plenty of buffer in there to make sure that they don't go down. Like I say, it was another goalless draw for Banbury. They seem to be specialists a little bit this season. They hosted Stratford Town, so yeah, another important point for them.
And hopefully we'll hear from a slightly happier Jamie Heapy this week, because Didcot did get all 3 points at home Saturday.
Yes, indeed. They hosted Bristol Manor Farm, and Dan Warrer got both goals for Didcot. They won 2-1. He scored in the first half, and then after Bristol Manor Farm equalised about 10 minutes after the interval, he scored 5 minutes from time to win the game. And yeah, Didcot have had a bit of a reputation, I think, of late of scoring late goals to get results. So yeah, another good result for them there. And as you say, yeah, much happier Jamie Heapy. He spoke to Daz King at full time.
Yeah, so we played well for stuff. I think considering the conditions, the pitch, the wind, everything like that. I think we started the game really well. Well, we scored a good goal. We had other chances as well, but when he equalised, we said being better to say like typical. You know what I mean? We were on top, but then they go and score. Even that chance. Yeah, right start. Really. Yeah. Started saying, and then they'd had the one. Yeah, yeah. And they always had that little bit of frame going forward with a bit of pace up front. But no, I thought I was outstanding today. You know, they couldn't shift. Scored, you know, where was the second goal? Was really well, wasn't it, really? No, it's out. The conditions are awful. It's not great. We played all right for stuff. I really did think that's probably the best we played for a long time. Yeah, no, it was a good win, mate. Good 3 points. We want to end the season well, like I said the other night.
So next up then, Tame United, they're still flirting with the playoff places, but a goalless draw probably didn't help their cause in that respect, Patrick.
I mean, certainly when you're in a playoff chasing position, and I remember this with Oxford City a few years ago, you just feel like you need to win every single game, don't you, to get into that position. But I don't think it's too bad a result for them, really, because they hosted Barton Rovers, who were in the playoff spots themselves. So actually to avoid defeat against them was a good result for them. They did drop out of the relegation zone. Hadley picked up a win themselves, but they're level on points of Hadley still. But Tame do have a game in hand, so still in Tame's hands, I think, especially if they win that game in hand.
Okay, but not much good news at all for Kidlington and Northley. Northley, I think, are already relegated. Kidlington did have a chance of improving the situation, but that didn't go too well for them at all on Saturday, did it, Patrick?
No, we've spoken in the recent weeks about a couple of wins to get themselves above Northwood in the table, and the chance of a great escape. And I mean, this weekend was a huge game for them as they hosted Northwood at Yarnton Road, and you felt that if Kidlington got a win there, they'd have almost been away from Northwood, but Northwood found their first win in a long time, unfortunately, for Kidlington, and they won 5-2, so it was a really comprehensive win. Joel O'Day-Larby and John Dennis scored the Kidlington goals, but neither time did they go ahead, so it's not much of a consolation. We can hear from Aidan Horton after the match, as you're probably disappointed after that result.
Frustration, disappointment. We weren't at the races at all today. The goals that we've given away are awful. Fair play to Northwood. They've come out and they've played and they've made it hard for us. But we've played into their hands big time. We've not recognised their weaknesses, where they've recognised ours and took advantage of that. And unfortunately, that shows their experience and maybe our lack of. Yeah, overall, just disappointed and frustrated. But itching to get back into it Tuesday and get to Burco next weekend and hopefully show a complete polar opposite performance.
Northley, their relegation was confirmed last week, wasn't it? But their fortunes didn't improve. They lost 3-0 to Leighton Town.
Right, so far we've not been able to report on lots of goals, Patrick, but see if you can find us some more goals, please, as we go through the rest of the local results in the various leagues. Patrick Lock.
Yeah, there's actually plenty in the Combined Counties Premier North. We'll start with Milton United, and they've, after a tough month or so, they've found real form now. They've had 3 wins in a row. They won 2-0 on Saturday. Ollie Naddon and Cameron for Milton against North Greenford United. They climbed back up to 9th in that division now. Wallingford and Crowmarsh was the place to be. Well, their away game was the place to be this weekend. It was a thrilling 3-3 draw at Ascot as they went to play Berks County. Wallingford levelled in the last minute through Joe Webber. James Williams and Hayden McConnell scored earlier goals. It's a really thrilling game there. But unfortunately, it was defeat for Ardley in their final away game of the season. They travelled to Hollyport. And we can hear from George McCalman as he spoke at full time.
Arguably the toughest away day we've had. Not because of the game. I thought we competed really well. But we've had a real tough week in terms of players not available. We lost our skipper to an injury late last night. We had a player not turn up today or let me know this morning that he wasn't going to be available today. Those that know, we ended up playing with a guy that hasn't played most of the season in Kizzer up top. Unfit, struggling, but desperate to put on the shirt and do his part for the badge. And we had our goalkeeper at centre half, and I thought he was fantastic. Yeah. So to not only limit them to 3-1, because I'm never one that accepts defeat, and I told my guys that before the game, but to actually be in the game, we've had a goal disallowed, scored a very good goal, and for large parts played our part. I'm just immensely proud, and it's not a word I use very often. Anyone that knows me knows I'm not an emotional guy, or I'm not someone that goes too high or too low. I'm very level, but today I'm very, very proud of my guys and the 11 people that put the shirt on.
Across the divisions in Step 5 and the United Counties League, and unfortunately still no good news for Easington. They fell to another defeat, 3-1 to G&G Obi Town. They're still looking for that first win of 2025 for them. In Hellenic Division 1, Abingdon have certainly found their form again. They went on a similar run to Milton, where they couldn't really buy a win for a month or so. But they won 2-0 against Redditch Borough, who was second in the league, so a very important result there. Casey Highmore and Romeo Newsy with the goals to secure that important win, which is also good news for them and Wantage Town, who kind of chasing that second position. But it should also be said that the league has now been won, so there's no chance of them winning the league. So second's the best they can all hope for. Clanfield back to winning ways after their draw last week. Nathan Kimber scored the only goal of the game at Wellington to keep up pace with the playoffs. But Carterton were beaten as they fell to a 2-0 defeat at FC Stratford's, while Wantage and Kidlington reserves were without fixtures this weekend. On Sunday, it was just Abingdon United and Oxford City in action. Lauren May scored to help Abingdon to a 1-1 draw against Bridgewater. An important point for them as they try and climb away from the relegation zone, and that point did see them now go 5 points clear of the drop. So hopefully that is a big result for them coming the end of the season. Oxford City hosted Reading FC Community Trust in the Southern Region Women's Football League Premier and scored 10 goals to beat them comprehensively. So there's all the goals. 6 different scorers. Ellie White got a hat-trick. Lucy White and Isabel Bradley both scored twice, while Caitlin Crouch, Emma Donoghue and Ellie Wilecki scored the others in an absolute rout for City there. So yeah, really big win there. And yeah, you wanted goals, Colin, there they are for you. So I'll hand back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you like a score like that, Paul, don't you? That when they actually put the word 10 in against the letters, so you know the numbers, so you actually know it's not a mistake. Unlike we had, was it the other week, North Lee? Someone, it was a 1-1 draw at one point, and they mistakenly put Twitter feed saying 11-1. The opposition wrote back and said, "Hang on, mate, it's only 1-1. You're not that bad." So they are relegated, but that's a nice bit of terrace black humour there. So, Paul, let's round off this with some good news, because there's another home tie this week for the revived Whitney Town Football Club. Who are you playing? Remind us where and when.
Home again this Saturday to Dorchester. That's Dorchester in south of Oxfordshire, not Dorchester in Dorset. A local team, and it's not going to be an easy game. Dorchester are 4th in the league. They've still got an outside chance of promotion, so they'll definitely be up for the game, and hopefully we can keep up the good form at Whitney. That's 2:00 kickoff at Whitney's ATP.
Thanks a lot indeed, Paul Lyon and Patrick Locke. Back to the main studio for much more Ox Sports Unleashed.
Thanks there. Nice to see Paul on a booster seat this week. It's a little bit higher in his position on the screen, and also Patrick more central. It's very good. So our thanks to Locksmith, Lyon Bar and Roller Coaster Ride there for another great edition of Lyon Ryde. Fantastic effort. Love to see that. It's my wife's favourite part of the show.
Is it really?
Yeah, she hates everything with me in it.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
It's
there you
understandable,
go.
but she loves Lyon Ryde. So there you go. I've said it now. So there we go.
Right.
Some more good news.
Some more good news, yeah. Sticking with football, because you heard in that Lyon Ryde that the game at home at Whitney Town against Bushnell was in doubt for a long time because of some idiots got into the ground and set a bonfire in the middle of their 3G pitch, of all things to do. Apparently it also happened in Oxford City too.
Yeah.
Someone had a barbecue there during lockdown, but don't do that, please. Any ground, especially not on a 3G pitch. But we do have the highlights of that game. Here they are now.
The goal of the season contenders, and I was sort of watching this, and I was thinking, a couple of weeks ago they had to eat some bacon rolls, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
I noticed they're playing BLT this week. They're obsessed with bacon. Look at that, that's a screamer. Top corner. There we go. Come back to the bacon. We haven't got a replay of that, but that is a cracking goal.
Yeah, they're all looking around saying, "Who did that?" So
this is spot the ball competition.
It is, yeah.
And it will be there in a moment. Here it's coming. Now. Easy tap in for Bletchingen there to bring it back level. So Whitney under the cosh there a little bit, and
hang on, someone's having a breather off the pitch.
I think they were just slightly cheesed off with that.
I tell you what, the crowd are very close to the players, aren't they?
Quite close to the action
they
there,
are,
yeah. Quite a rowdy bunch, actually. Apologies if there's any language there being heard. I don't know. Is that Chrissy Allen?
It is, yeah.
That was Chrissy Allen,
yeah,
wasn't
there's a few of their long-term players are injured. They're just coming back into the right time. But look at how these guys, like...
This is a good build-up. Nice little build-up, this. Nice little ball over the top.
Great advert for Premier Inn too in the background. Can you see that?
Great advert.
Yeah.
A little nod in. And that's gone over. I think it's all over. That's 1966 all over again. But it's been given. And 3-1.
Hang on, he pushed
lead.
the referee then, so...
Yeah, that was a bit odd, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything in malice at all. That's another lovely through ball. And this is just a lovely bit of... I'm very unselfish here. That's just fantastic little tap in. Very unselfish from Chrissy Allen there. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think his youngest son plays with him as well. I can't see where he is, but one of 3 former, I think, full-time players that play for Whitney Town.
I think the great thing about this is how many they're getting to actually watch
They
their
are,
games.
yeah,
and,
it's good.
There's some good football here.
Ooh.
That's a penalty, isn't it? That's pretty easy to give that one, I think. I'd give that from here.
No one's arguing, are they? There's no rushing the referee and protesting.
We've been quite poor in giving you the goal scorers' names. That didn't look like that went in, did it? But it
Referee was there, though.
100% went in. It's something to do with the goals there at the Whitney ATP.
I think they've sort of shaved them off at one side.
Yeah, it's like that. But so BLT, there you go. Obsessed with bacon rolls and BLTs there. But after the match, our roving reporter Dan Smith caught up with assistant coach Steve Potts.
What's a good 3 points again this afternoon, mate? Your thoughts on our performance?
Yeah, we're absolutely delighted again. I personally think that's the best we've been possibly for a couple of months. First half, really worked hard, worked the ball well. We've spoken in the dressing room before about being patient in possession, just keeping the ball. We had a very experienced back four with us today. Using that experience to just keep the ball, wait for the right opportunity to play forwards, and we've done that really well. We got caught a bit of a counter, but we said at half time that we'd definitely done enough. We were really happy with where the game was. We should have been maybe 2 or 3 clear, but we knew second half if we carried on doing the right thing, the chance to come, and we just needed to put them away, really put the game to bed. Absolutely delighted with how we played in the second half. I think we really upped the tempo. We were a little bit more brave on the ball, just receiving the ball on our back foot, trying to commit players a little bit more by playing forwards. But overall, a really positive team performance and one that's put us in really good shape.
So Steve Potts there talking about the revival of Whitney South Football Club. Still top of the league. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And doing really well. Apologies there for our abysmal commentary on that footage, but I think we talked over it quite well, Colin, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
There we go. But yeah, good to see Whitney still at the top of the tree there, and long may that continue, and hopefully until the end of the season, so they can be champions and go up as
That'd
well.
be good.
That'd be brilliant. Promotion for them in their first year. And that takes us from football to horse racing, seamless, as always, on Ox Sports Unleashed. Probably a good time to say at this point, if you've got any clips you want to send to us of any sport, anything, something funny might have happened, or some really good goals in a football match, a good try in a rugby, whatever it might be, please send it to us at our normal address, oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. And as we say always, if you a budding reporter, a cameraman, presenter, why wouldn't they be?
Absolutely,
and a producer, then get in contact with us. We'll be more than happy to... both producers are nodding their head very, very viciously there. Please get in contact with that email address again, oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. We were fortunate enough a few weeks ago, as we've been showing and showcasing it over the last few weeks, Mick Shannon interview. And last week we had part 1 of the Jack Shannon interview, and pleased now to show you part 2. Again, Jack talks so eloquently, so this will be good to watch.
It's one thing I've never done in my life, actually, is ridden a horse. So it's something on my bucket list. I'm going to have to do it at some point. So that's interesting. How many owners do you have here? With horses.
So we've got quite a few. There's, the whole landscape of racehorse ownership sort of changed over the last 15, 20 years. Because with everything in life becoming so expensive, it's very expensive to have a horse in training. You think everything that goes into it, the feed, the hay, the straw, the wages of the staff, just the general upkeep of all their stables and everything like that, so it's a very expensive endeavor to own a racehorse on your own. So, but we have a lot of those clients that are high net worth that obviously own their horses on their own, which is fantastic. But we've seen a lot more syndicates sort of come into the fray the last sort of 15, 20 years to basically make it more affordable for people. And it's a hell of a lot of fun for people. We've got a friends of ours today. Paul Humphreys is here with Jonathan Sweeney. They didn't know each other before they got into a syndicate together. Mm-hmm. So not only does it make it more accessible to people to be able to be part of that of that owning a racehorse, but they end up meeting people that they end up becoming very good friends with. So syndicates have become a massive thing. You know, we probably have maybe 10 or 12 syndicates running separately, and then we've probably got 30 to 40 single owners. You know, it's like any business. Dealing with your clients is obviously a massive part, and we're very lucky that everyone we had to deal with has been fantastic to me.
I've only ever, and again, this is sad that this has happened, but I've only been to one horse race, and it was Ascot. I went with as works do. I was spoiled. But the atmosphere and the sound of the hooves on the ground, just absolutely phenomenal for me. It was a really good experience. But there must be a hell of a buzz when you've got a horse running that's looking to take that trophy.
100%, and it's there's a reason that some of the most wealthy and most successful people in the world keep coming back to it, because that buzz is, I'm sure it's, not all of us are good enough to score 100 at Lords or score at Wembley like Dad did or anything like that to get that buzz. And I'm sure it's a very similar thing, when you own a horse or you've bred a horse or you're part of that journey of that horse, for the lads as well. And for me, obviously training, when that horse hits the front and wins, it's a very special feeling, and it's something that's very, very hard to replicate anywhere else. And I think it's a drug. It's what keeps bringing everyone back. And it's a feeling I certainly wouldn't swap for anything.
Oh, it sounds idyllic, actually, I have to say. I want to sort of take you to the future, the aspirations for you, for Jack Shannon Racing. What does the future look like for you?
I think it's quite simple, is get bigger and better. It's, we want to continue being successful. As I said, we want to keep improving year on year, improving our results, improving the quality of horse that we have here at West Ilsley. I think that will naturally, we'll end up with more horses as we go, but I want that to happen a little bit more organically. I don't want it just to happen in a split second. I want to be able to continue to look after all of our horses with the care that we always have done, and all of our clients. But what I want to do is improve the quality. I suppose, again, to use the analogy of another sport like a football. We've done well. We've got ourselves out of League One and League Two, and we're into the Championship. We need to improve our quality of players almost.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. We need to keep finding good people to invest into the horses, which will hopefully, if we keep doing our job that we're doing, it will just improve our results.
Thank you ever so much, Jack. Last question from me. West Ilsley cricket. As I'm a cricket coach, I have to bring that in. I see a cricket bat here and a couple of cricket balls on your desk. But love that sport as well?
Yeah, no, I've always loved cricket. It's probably been my favourite sport to play since I was a kid. Probably because it was the only one I was half decent at. And my brother's was the captain of West Ilsley. I think they got promoted last year, so they're all delighted. Unfortunately, I can't quite get to play as much on a Saturday as I would, but I wouldn't bet against them going up again. They've got a good young team, and I'll probably you might see me turn out the odd Saturday when I don't have any runners, and probably go out for a go and get a nice golden duck or something, and then stand in the field with a pint in my hand probably. But yeah, no, it's I reckon they've got a chance of going back up again.
That's brilliant. If you need any coaching, no, that's a terrible plug from me, but Jack, I have to say thank you ever so much for your time today and giving us the exclusive and the reign of coming round here. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you. All the best for the future.
No, thank you ever so much. Cheers. Thank you.
Massive thanks to Jack Shannon and that interview. It was a fantastic morning we had there, I have to say. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And, we got access all areas, really, and managed to bring all that footage to you. So, our thanks go out to them again. Massive. We haven't finished yet. There's a great interview that we'll be showing next week with Mick Shannon Jr. So please join us next week, because that is a classic as well. I think you thoroughly enjoyed that interview.
He's a very, very humorous guy. It's funny. His book's fantastic too. We'll promote that next time around. Yeah.
Well, wasn't it great? Shannon and Ball. Did you see the photograph?
Yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah. When Southampton were a decent side.
Yeah.
Not like now.
Absolutely. So
we move on.
Brilliant. And one thing we must say, good luck to Humphs and his horse Highland running in the Grand National this weekend. We keep our fingers crossed for you. There was a great piece on Facebook, if you haven't seen it, Highland relaxing before the big race. Well worth a watch, I have to say.
Right, midweek.
Yeah.
More football action. It's going to that end of the season where, you know, it matters, you know, Saturday, Tuesdays, and two good results. So Lowestoft 2, Banbury 5, fantastic result for them, followed by Tame 2, Enfield 0, which means Tame United's promotion push is still very much on target there. We have highlights though, don't we, of Farsley 1, Oxford City 3, which our producer Patrick Locke thought meant they were mathematically safe. He got his sums a bit wrong though.
He's not good at maths, is
They
he?
need one more point though. But here's the highlights of the Farsley Celtic game against Oxford City.
Obviously, we knew it was going to be a difficult game, sort of the unknown really, but we had to come up here and prepare as best as possible. I think the boys did that. We had a little bit of a slow start, I'd say. We had to weather against sort of a low block and work our passing, and frustrated us at times. But I think the only disappointment from tonight is probably the clean sheet we wanted. I think there's definitely avoidable that goal to maybe win the ball in the middle of the park, and to be fair, he's caught the ball. It's a great strike, to be fair, but I think that's the only real disappointment I'd probably say is that clean sheet that we've been really good with in recent weeks. So we know it's a difficult place, the atmosphere wasn't there, there's not enough fans here to generate that. We brought our fans as usual, they were here to support us home and away, up and down the country, but I think it was a bit of a cagey start. We knew we came here to try and get the win. We've done that, so we get them to the bus now in good spirits, knowing we've done a good job.
I thought we were good first half. I thought we started well. Didn't really create a lot, but we looked as though we were more likely to score than they were. I mean, you know, it's just... And second half, we didn't really get going. It was a bit stop-start, wasn't it? A bit,
lot of free kicks. So.
Yeah, a lot of free kicks, funny decision, just a bit of a... We just couldn't get a hold of the game second half. They changed their shape a little bit, to be fair, second half, and that might have caused us a few problems, but Lee's had to make a penalty save to keep it 0-0, and I don't think it was a penalty. But, well, the ref didn't, did he? He gave a free kick, and then all of a sudden he goes over and it's a penalty. I think he was going to give a goal as well at one point. It's like, geez. But, no, thankfully, I think that was justice a little bit, really, the penalty save.
That is, just speaking to one of their chaps, that's their 10th penalty miss.
Is it really?
He said, why didn't he take it? He said, well, he's missed 2.
They've had 10 penalties, have they?
Yeah.
We can't have had that many.
They weren't a great saver by all accounts. So, yeah,
long overdue, I think.
Obviously, yeah, penalties. Having a penalty save graphic for your whole season.
Yeah,
I've been waiting. I've
had a bet with Nozza all season as well, so yeah. It's normally yellow cards I bet with Nozza about. We went penalty saves this season after I saved a few last year, but yeah, nice to get one.
I mean, you were getting a bit of a clattering second half there.
Yeah, always seemed to be an easy target for number 9s or the opposition, anyone in general. But yeah, no, I like that part of the game as well. I like the hustle and bustle of it. It gets me going, it gets me fired up, and yeah, there's not a chance. I was going to do everything I could to keep that out of the back of the net. Weren't great, but when they bobble it in across that goal mouth, as long as you keep it out and you got someone like Cammy running in to make sure they don't slot it away, then it does help as well.
Well, so we had the highlights there of Didcot Town as well, with Lee Bedwell in the middle of the gaffer and the interviewer. And we thought for a long period he wasn't going to say anything. Why was he stood there? Okay, so but in the end he did say that apparently William Rovers have missed 10 penalties this year. Is that right? 10 penalties? Yeah. Well, there you are. So not the best way to.
Not a good record.
Not a good record. No, but there you go. Right, back to you.
Yeah, we're changing from the football to the smaller ball and the red one with a seam and cricket. We got Blake on the Gloucestershire Media Day last week, where he caught up with Miles Hammond and Ollie Price, and this is part 2 of the interview where they're reviewing the season just about to start. County Championship tomorrow.
Really looking forward to getting going. Been a really nice winter. I was in Perth for about 3.5 months, just playing a bit of grey cricket out there, and been to Stellenbosch for pre-season tour, and so it's been a really nice run-in. And yeah, looking forward to getting going.
And of course, it's such an early start in April. How did the preparations in South Africa compare to what it's going to be like in Derby on April 4th?
Yeah, it's probably slightly nicer in Stellenbosch. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cold. It's going to be a bit rubbish, but you know, lucky to be out there playing cricket for a living. So hopefully we can get off to a good start in Derby.
You mentioned the England Lions. Of course, you were called up for their camps and games 18 months ago in that winter of 23 going into 24. Didn't get any time spent with them this winter. A little bit of disappointment or just happy to be around the club a lot more in that pre-season period?
Definitely something that, you know, I'd have loved to be a part of that again. It's an awesome environment. It's something you want to be putting yourself in contention for. And yeah, I'd say there's definitely a level of disappointment. Not so much. I had some great communication from them, and I think as well, like I said, I don't think I quite performed consistently at the level that I wanted to last year. So I wasn't at all sort of shocked or anything. It was just like you said, like I said, it's something that you want to push yourself to be a part of all of those higher honours, and I'd obviously had a taste of it and felt like I held my own really, you know, pretty well the year before. So I think look, I'm always someone who's pretty focused on my own stuff, like what I feel like I need to do to improve or get to the level I want to be as a cricketer. So I'd have loved to be a part of those trips, but also was excited to have a little bit more time probably to go and develop the things that I think will make a real difference.
I was just getting word from a couple of other players as well. It tells me it was solely a Red Bull tour. So how important do you feel that is for, you know, to come back from what's probably fair to say a rather underwhelming season last year for the side?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I had a few comments today about last year's Red Bull year, and actually we probably don't look at it as negatively as possibly you know, others do. And I think we were really close until Northampton at home that got called off. You know, in my opinion, in a bit of I shouldn't have been called off. We lost all of our. We didn't get any points. We were still in the hunt for promotion. And if that hadn't happened, then you never know. So, and then we won the Blast, and you know, you're probably not going to back it up with when you know you've got nothing to gain in the Red Bull season. So, it was obviously underwhelming in the end, but there are huge amounts of positives.
Maybe looking at the squad list this year, maybe seeing the Zafar Gohar departure and no real reinforcements in that area. So the leading spin option maybe looks a bit thin on the ground. Is that something you're expecting to step up to? Is that conversations you've had with Mark and Cameron about?
Yeah, definitely something we've spoken about. I think, look, it's never going to be easy to replace someone of Zaf's calibre. There's probably only you know, 2 or 3 people in the country and only a handful more in the world who are as good as he is bowling finger spin. So never going to be easy to replace someone like that. But I felt like last year was I felt I made real strides with what I was offering with the ball, mainly obviously in a supporting role to Zaf, but he did miss a fair few games last year, so I had to step up in some moments. And yeah, it's definitely something I've got my eye on. Look, I want to be a cricketer who contributes across all sort of, or in every moment of the game, in every innings. So you know, I've gone away and continue to work on that. And yeah, like I said, he was a big part of our team for the last few years. But I don't think we're worried about that departure, and I think it's going to free up other potential options in our team. Definitely, there are conversations that have been had, and yeah, super excited about that opportunity.
What were the conversations like in terms of captaincy? Because you know, you're a very experienced and established part of this team now. Was there any, and you've captained a little bit in the T20 side as well, was there any sort of desire for you to take on that role?
Not at this point, no. I maybe in the future, yeah. I see myself as being able to fulfil that role, but yeah, no, not this year. No, not this time. Yeah, just probably looking a little bit in a few more years.
Talking to Cam, because I'm sure he will be one of your right-hand men.
Yeah, he's a great man. He'd be great as captain as well. He's really level, very tactically smart, and obviously having batted with him throughout the T20 blast and a lot through the 50 over comp. He's great, and really look forward to what he brings as captain. Despite the fact you've got that title to try defend, do you think sole focus and have conversations been about focusing on trying to move up that Division 2? Yeah, definitely. We're not going to beat around the bush. We want to get promoted, and we've got to hold ourselves to those standards. And I think, obviously last year wasn't ideal. A couple of scenarios didn't help, but I think good teams and teams that get promoted come through those moments, and we didn't quite do that last year. Every team gets injuries. No one has a perfect season, so that's a huge motivation for us. And then obviously with the white ball, we want to come as close to defending that title as we possibly can.
It's great to see local lads doing really well in the professional game, Woodsy.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully those two guys, plus the Charlesworths and the Prices and the Taylors, all have a good season at Gloucestershire for season 2025. We wish them all the very best of luck. Thanks to Blake, and because we like to keep sending Blake out, we sent him along to the Parks this week as well to catch up with Oxford UCCE head coach Graham Charlesworth. But before he collars him for an interview, we've got a few bits of footage of some of our local lads, including Oxford Downs' own Ollie Armstrong and ex-Oxford Downs player Gus Miller playing for Northants. And we thank Blake for this compilation. So over to you, Blake.
Downs youngster Ollie Armstrong got the wickets of former England player Scott Borthwick and upcoming England prospect Ollie Robinson against Durham last week, as well as 4 wickets against Northants, including that edge of Lewis McManamus. Playing in the same game, Gus Miller for Northants picked up 4 wickets in an innings, although failed to contribute with the bat. For Sussex, Zach Leon Cachet made 52 retired not out against Hampshire, including an attack with John Turner, and that's 6 against Nick Gubbins. Also representing Sussex, there was James Coles, who made 50 against Surrey, including this beautiful on-drive. Across the M4 for Gloucestershire, Tom Price was playing against Leeds and Bradford UCCE, scoring 45 and 89 not out, coming back from injury, and he also took 4 for 8 in the second innings to help them get their win. His brother Ollie, playing against Somerset, got the wicket of James Rue to go with scores of 44 and 31 against Hampshire earlier in the week. Luke Charlesworth, 7 wickets in the match against Leeds and Bradford UCCE, while his brother Ben was the star of the week, 106 and an unbeaten 50 against Somerset. Elsewhere in the Charlesworth family, Oxford UCCE head coach Graham Charlesworth spoke to me after playing Notts at the Parks.
Had a good run out against Notts and Derby last week as well. How good are these games for your students?
Unbelievable experience. Last week we went to Derbyshire for 3 days up at the county ground and played against pretty much their first team. From the county's point of view, they're looking for preparation before their first round of championship games. So this multi-day format, red ball formats, hopefully good practice for them, but unbelievable experience for our guys to play against the pros. The last 2 weeks, Derbyshire last week and Nottinghamshire this week, they've played against some of the best bowlers and batters in the country. And for young students who are, some of them have ambitions to play good cricket and really progress in the game. And it's a great yardstick for them to sort of see where they're at, measure their skills against people who are doing this full-time professionally. And it gives them unbelievable feedback. Also, people like Peter Moores and Mickey Arthur at the coaches at Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire, they're so helpful in terms of sharing information and talking to players and giving them feedback, and so the whole process, from our point of view, is great, and our challenge is to make sure that we're competitive enough to give the counties good practice before their first championship game. So hopefully to a certain extent we've managed to achieve that, but yeah.
And with the role of the scheme for these students, I mean, what can it do for them? You mentioned, coaches looking out for these players, and with some of them having ambitions. I mean, what can it mean to them if they get 100, or Dan Geddes just fell short of twin 50s, or if someone can get a 5 in one of these games? I mean, what can it mean to them?
Yeah, well, it builds a lot of confidence. So if you can bowl some good spells or have some good knocks against these guys, then for the individual, that will build so much confidence, and self-belief and confidence is a really important component to playing sport at a good level. And I think the best example of, well, there's been many examples, but a good example is Calvin Harrison. We played this game against Notts a few years ago at Trent Bridge, and Calvin in this fixture got 100, and he bowled really well, fielded well. Peter Moores agreed to have a look at him after that game. And by, I think, May or June, he'd signed with Nottinghamshire, and by July he had a 100 contract. So from being a Brookes University student in March, by July he had a 100 contract, and that's what can happen. That's best case scenario, but that's possible. That's happened before, and hopefully that will happen again in the future. That type of situation where, you get a bit of a break, you get an opportunity, and the stars align, and you do well, and then your opportunities sort of progress from there.
And of course your players not only play these friendly matches in the scheme, but you do play competitive cricket, you play university cricket, and a lot of these guys will play second 11, maybe even first 11 games. I mean, one of your players, for example, Seb Stewart Reckling, played for Surrey last week against Middlesex. So, these players have got so many opportunities, don't they? Yeah, they do. I mean, Seb's another guy who came to Brookes University last year as a sort of club player, really, and by the end of the season he had signed a contract with Surrey, who are the best side in the country, arguably. So again, rapid progression. The age 18, 19, 20, 21, you can see some really good progression in players quite quickly when they sort of, they improve and they get exposed to a good level of cricket, and they learn quickly and they can really improve quickly. And Seb was a good example of that last year. And he's now pretty much immersed in the Surrey programme and doing pretty well, and hopefully get a few more opportunities this year. And you also mentioned the university cricket that we play. It's very competitive. It's a good standard of cricket. We play against the Loughboroughs, the Durhams, the Cardiffs, the Leeds, the Exeters, the Cambridges. They're all very, very, very good sides. And that level of competition, that 50-over competition, is a really good competition. I mean, 50-over cricket's not that popular these days, but that actual 50-over competition is a really good level of cricket. And the guys, we were lucky enough to win that competition last year, and we played the final at Lords, so it was another amazing experience. And you mentioned that, so coming back off the win, squad changed a little bit from last year, particularly a new captain as well. Do you sort of look into these results where you've come up quite well short against a pro county? Do you sort of look at that as a knock of confidence today, or is it still confidence going into the Bucks competitive season? Yeah, we've got a new side this year. I think the last 2 weeks, Derbyshire and Notts, we've given out 12 new caps. So that's quite a lot. So there's a lot of first year students coming into it fresh, and it's all new to them. So look, I mean, we talked about it after the game. I mean, there's always like micro moments in the game where someone like Dan Geddes has played well, or Zaid Falil last week, or bowlers have bowled some good spells. Our spinners have bowled nicely, George Taylor and Ahmed Khan, and some of the seamers have had some nice spells. Henry Dunlop bowled a really nice spell yesterday. So, those micro moments in a 3-day game can really build a lot of confidence and belief. But over the 3 days, we just haven't been competitive enough to... I would like to be more competitive. I think in the past we have at times been a bit more competitive. We haven't managed to get runs on the board in the last 2 games, which is, in a game of cricket, in a 3-day game of cricket, once you've got runs on the board, you've got a foothold in the game, and then you can create some pressure from there. And we just haven't had the guys going on and getting those big scores to get us a sort of foothold into the game in the last 2 weeks, which has been a bit disappointing. But there's a reason why they haven't done that, and they'll learn from that, hopefully.
And not only for these students are the games a good warm-up, but to the pro players playing for these counties as well. And a couple of people you may have had your eye on over the last couple of weeks. Of course, your two boys at Gloucestershire, Ben and Luke. 7 wickets for Luke against Leeds UCC, and Ben 100 against Somerset in a 2-day friendly as well. So, you know, did you have eyes on them? What sort of expectations do you have for them this year?
Well, the all-county cricket stream these days, so to be honest, the whole season I'm watching a stream. When I'm involved in the game of cricket somewhere else, it's so useful to be able to keep in touch with all cricket, really. And I love watching cricket. And I think that my two boys, they're sort of still young into their careers, and they're working hard to make a mark in the game. And I know what they go through. I mean, it's you know, they sort of dedicate themselves so much to cricket, and you have to, because, you know, the nutrition, the physicality, the skill level, you know, the ambition, the desire, the determination, all those things, you've got to have all those things in place to even sort of compete at that level. And whatever sport you choose, whether it's tennis or golf or rugby or whatever, football. So you know, you've got to have all those personal qualities, which together with a skill level will hopefully, you know, achieve some sort of success at some stage in the future. But they're doing the right things, and I'm proud of the way they sort of prepare and give themselves the best chance.
Will they have any expectations, goals they've spoke to you about for the coming season? Particularly Ben had a bit of a breakout last year. Could it be Luke's this year?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, Luke's a few years behind Ben, but you know, it's very competitive. It's not easy. There's lots of bowlers, there's lots of batters in these county setups. So, yeah, I mean, I just believe if you do the right things and prepare well, and you know, prepare thoroughly, and you're ambitious and you're determined, and you know, you stay on track. Because in cricket, there's lots of knocks along the way. There's been injuries and all sorts of stuff, but you know, you've got to have that inner resilience to keep bouncing back and keep believing that you can have a crack, and that's what they're doing. So, you know, good luck to them, and hopefully I love watching them play, so hopefully continue for a bit longer.
So, Graham Charlesworth there, and he is the coach of the Oxford University Centre of Cricketing Excellence, which is based at Brookes University. I've just looked that up, you see.
Well done.
Yeah, you see.
Very
Thank you,
well
Google.
It was always good. Thanks to Charlie there.
Yes.
And to Blake Blint for going off to the parks in the sun this week.
Indeed. And we change sports yet again.
Yet again.
Seamlessly to darts.
Yeah, this is something we haven't actually sort of showcased on this show, this series, but there has been some good news this week, as Oxfordshire's Sean Holly, pictured holding the trophy, represented England in the darts British Championship last weekend. He won his debut game against Scotland with a 94 average before losing his match versus Wales the following day. Sean's call-up was one of 12 of the best county players in the country. Oxfordshire's Sam Jackson also played for the youth boys team, which also claimed the title. So well done to both Sean and Sam there. Fantastic achievement. Again, it just showcases how many great sports people we have in our county, and doing things like that is just absolutely brilliant. And also now going on to what we thought was going to be Brad Axe's fight this weekend at Stamford Bridge. Unfortunately, it has been cancelled. Following, he's going to want to take our job there. He's looking very smart, isn't he? But he's, as he says there, he's a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and I'm sure the next fight that he has will be a banger. Basically, due to an injury to his opponent and some issues there. So, unfortunately, Brad will not be boxing at Stamford Bridge this weekend. But when his next fight comes up, we wish him all the very best. And I'm still part of the Axe Gang, which I love. And I'd love to get to one of his fights. I must admit, it's one thing I haven't ever been to is a bout of boxing. So
I'll tell you what, though,
we'll follow him.
They were due to have the face-off tonight, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
The Chelsea-Tottenham game.
They were,
so
absolutely.
I know our producers eagerly watching the scoreline, Chelsea versus Tottenham. What's the current score, Patrick? So I think he's telling me 0-0. There you go. Right, so that's off. But what else are we going to chat about now? I think we're going to go straight into, I believe, next.
Well, do you reckon? We say with trepidation this, didn't we? Because
shall we go? He's got one finger up.
Yeah.
So we've got the results coming up next, right? So here we
Results,
go. The full results service, followed by the league tables and then upcoming fixtures. Here's the results, though, first. Thank you, Patrick Locke, for that results service there. And next up, we're going to the league tables. Oxford United 19th. He's looking a bit dodgy them now, so because yeah, it is looking dodgy. So they have Sheffield United on Saturday.
Tough one.
Yeah, followed by QPR and Leeds, which is not a good run-in at all. But 19th so far, struggling a little bit in the Championship. Oxford City, though, they may well be safe. They need one more point unless Patrick has got his maths wrong. 2 Fs, that is maths. But Oxford City currently 18th and looking to be clear of the relegation zone so far.
Great run from them.
It is a great run, yeah. Banbury United, they are pushing further up the league now, 11th with 52 points. Tame United snuck back into the playoff places with that midweek win. And looking good for their end of the season push. Kennington still adrift though. They had a chance, I think, to get one over on Northwood the weekend. They lost that one, so they're now second from bottom. Northley are, well, out of it. They are, I think, officially relegated already. Didcot Town up to 10th, 51 points. thanks to their keeper. I mean, some of those saves were absolutely stunning. So we see some great saves from Didcot Town's keeper and also from Oxford City's, which gives any team a lot of confidence. United Counties Premier League South, Brooks St Michael's 31. Interesting, that one. Why that's highlighted, I do not know, but there you go.
I think that might be easy to the sports that we should be highlighting there.
Probably
isn't it?
right.
I don't know.
Yes, I think you're right. I'll start that game, shall I? Easy to sports are 17th on 28 points. Good luck to Brooks St Michael's. No idea who they are.
Well,
no.
Let's get them in.
Yes.
No, we've highlighted them.
Find out.
We need to, don't we?
If you are Brooks St Michael's, come and tell us, okay, and give us some grief. Sorry about that. Next, please. This sounds like a PowerPoint presentation.
People
Next
think
slide,
we
please.
just throw this together.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Hey, Milton United, we know about them. They're 8th on 52 points. And then Counties Combined League Premiers, North Ardleigh. We like Ardleigh. They're 11th, 45 points. Wallingford and Cromarsh got it right on 42 points, yeah. Wantage Town still going well. Look at that, 61 points. God. So Droitwich Spa looks to be clear and gone. But Clanfield, 58. Aberdeen United, 58. It's good to see local sides in these leagues can play each other, but also a chance of promotion as well. Kidderton Reserves on 31 points, and Carterton, then they were off the bottom briefly, weren't they? But yeah, and they're still there on 20 points as well. So into the ladies, and Oxford United, they are 5th in the Southern Division of the National League.
A bit of late.
Yeah, they have, yeah. Aberdeen United are 10th on 18 points. Obviously, ladies, after that great win, are up to 3rd on 32 points.
That takes us to the upcoming football fixtures for Saturday, the 5th of April in the EFL Championship. Oxford United have that really hard tie against Sheffield United at the Castad, 3 p.m. kickoff. And Oxford City on the road to Southport at Hague Avenue, also 3 p.m. kickoff. In the Southern League Premier Central, Banbury United on their travels to Victory Road against Leiston, and Didcot Town also travelling to the sports ground, aptly named, at Bidford AFC. Southern League Division 1 Central, Kidlington play at Broadwater against Berkhamsted, Tame United away at Leighton Town, and Northley also on their travels to Leverstock Green. All 3 p.m. kickoffs. The stadiums were too long to read out there. United Counties Premier South, Easington Sports, Addison Road play Hinckley AFC. Ardleigh United at home against Burnham. And Milton United also at home in the Premier North against British Airways. Flight time 3 p.m. Hellenic League Division 1, Abingdon United home against Wellington at the North Court, but Wantage Town travel to Ardleigh playing fields to play Bloodley Town. And Clanfield 85 will play Droitwich Spa, and Kidlington Reserves on their travels to the Cherry Tree Stadium. Love that. It's like something out of Famous Five. Redditch Borough and Oxford City in Chairman's Cup, Sunday the 6th at Chapelgate is Bournemouth Sports Reserves, I'm guessing, there at the Chapelgate. That's the 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday the 6th of April. There we go. That's the upcoming fixtures for next weekend. We say it most weeks, but if there is a home tie that you can get to, go along and support your local team, because there'll be some really good football played, and probably a few bacon sarnies at Whitney again.
I think so, yeah.
That's good. Well, I think that's taken us to a very long programme tonight. Colin, 4 weeks in a row.
4 weeks in a row, and another great programme to look forward to next week as well. We've got Mick Shallen Jr. Don't miss that. It's a very, very funny episode. He's a great character, and the eldest son of the Mick Shallen, former Man City and Southampton footballing legend, and England, I say too. Also next week we have Nick Pinhole coming in, the Managing Director of Oxfordshire Cricket. That should be a really good interview. His new post taken up just recently, so someone we know quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to talking to Nick next week. Well, I think that takes us quite nicely to the end of the show. So thanks again for watching. Probably will say at this point, again, if you've got any clips you want to send to us, please send them to oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. We'll be definitely using them. We've used quite a few tonight. So thanks for watching. Where the week that really we delved into Berks Sports Unleashed and Gloucestershire Sports Unleashed. Please join us again live next Thursday.
When we might
at
go
8
global.
PM. We might go global, who knows, where we'll unleash some more Ox Sports. It's good night from me.
And good night from me.